Hi, welcome back to the channel and some more Star Citizen Universe news. Now, there was quite a long Around the Verse this week where Sandy Gardner and Chris Roberts presented as usual. Now, Nick Elms presented a report from Foundry 42 where they showed us some work in progress. Now, they showed some nice engine VFX effects on the Cutlass, some nice damage effects on the Herald, and a little bit also on the Hornet. Now, they also showed a nice B-roll of all the weapons firing, some nice weapon effects there, but most excitingly for me was these building placement settlements, which are obviously going to be used to populate the procedurally generated planets. And as you can see here, these look like they're actual some of the planets obviously a work in progress, and as we work our way through this little segment, you'll see that there's a variety of landscapes. Just look at that mist there, lovely. Now, to be honest, I can't wait until we can land on one of these planetary bodies. I think I'll just sit there and look at the awesome landscape. And I can't wait to green screen myself against some of these backdrops. Now, it's going to be a while yet before we see this, but it will be well worth waiting for. Now, last week I looked at some of the armour in the game, and I was particularly impressed with the actual fidelity of the armour, you know, the textures. And by chance this week I zoomed in very close to my character on the face, and the first thing which struck me was the actual fidelity of the textures on the character. The skin had actual pores, there was some whiskers, some stubble coming through the face. But what really impressed me was when I zoomed in onto the eyes. Now, I felt a little bit like an optician, because the actual fidelity of the graphics of the actual eyes was, well, it actually really blew my mind away, because I'm not even sure that the actual assets we've got at the moment are final. I'm not sure, but if they are, well, they're particularly impressive at the moment. Now, by zooming in with the new camera system right onto the eye sockets, onto the eyeballs, you could actually see the actual definition of blood vessels in the eye, and you could actually also see the reflections of, well, they were actually real time. If you look closely, you can see the actual suits of the different armours in the room where our eyes are looking. And this was a real maximum fidelity moment for me, and I must admit, it was really impressive. Now, also in Around the Verse, there was a very long piece with AI programmer Adam Riccucci and Tony Zurovic. Now, obviously they talked a lot about the AI in the game, and there was also some questions put to them from the community as well. Now, Tony talked about AI and animations and how they go hand in hand. Now, obviously work is still going on the AI, but I think one of the most difficult things is getting the AI and animations linked up so they look really, well, really lifelike and authentic, and not sort of what you see in a lot of other games where they're rather, well, game-like, robotic. Now, obviously, they're still working on this, so obviously we know that's why they didn't feel that the Squadron 42 vertical slice at CitizenCon was ready to be shown, and obviously now we know that they've actually given up on showing a vertical slice. So obviously it is challenging, that type of thing, and they're obviously making great strides in getting this ready. But it gave us an insight into some of the problems in game development. Now, they also talked about AI and multi-crew ships, and how you'll be able to hire specific AI to fulfill certain roles on your ship. And in fact, they also talked about you could possibly have just like an AI computer which could control a turret. So that would be pretty useful. Now, obviously, AI, as I said earlier, is obviously still very much a work in progress, and it wouldn't surprise me because I've heard a few things which have sort of hinted at this, and that I'm sure Tony said during this piece about it, that they may well filter in some of the AI into some of these like interim patches going forward, because if 3.0 isn't going to be absolutely ready for prime time for a while yet, it may make sense to test some of these AIs before then. So it could well be possible. Now, obviously, the talk between Adam Riccucci and Tony Zurvik was fairly long, so I'll leave a link in the video and in the description so you can check it out yourselves. There was the usual happy hour this week where Tyler Whitkin and Disco Lando was joined by Bristol Boy 88. Now, they was later joined by lead character artist Josh Herman, and he talked about some very interesting things regarding development of characters. Now, it was very eye-opening to me to hear how long developing one character takes, and it was about 60 days, I believe he said. But you know, developing things like t-shirts for the characters was fairly quick. Now, he also talked about his work on alien races like the Jean and the Banu and the Trevelyan. Now, very much what we gleaned from this was that the look of some of these alien races isn't completely set in stone yet. Still, it was quite interesting hearing some of what he talked about, and I'll leave a link as always in the description, and you can check it out yourselves. Now, there's a new community show called Citizens of the Stars, and this highlights all community content. There's some really clever people out there. There was a young guy who made a whole Carrick bridge in Google SketchUp, and well, some of these things these people do amaze me. Well, Chris Roberts is now in the UK, where he'll be at Foundry 42 in Manchester, and also travelling to Foundry 42 in Frankfurt. Now, thankfully for Chris, the weather is a little bit warmer this week, because it's been bloody cold here in the UK recently. But I'm afraid the forecast for this week is rather on the wet side. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, and also it will help the channel a lot if you could subscribe. So until next time, wherever you're watching out in that big universe, you take care, and I'll see you all sometime soon. Bye for now.